皆さん、こんにちは。内野隆司です。64ドリームプロジェクト第2弾は、私の長年の友人であり、超一流の武道家であるグレッグ・ネルソンとの対談です。彼とは大学時代に出会い、お互いに武術に魅了され、毎日一緒に稽古に励んだ同士です。今回の対談では、彼がなぜ武術に情熱を燃やし続けているのか、さらには二度の末期癌を乗り越えながらも、どのように成功を手にしたのか、情熱と挑戦と愛情に満ちた彼のストーリーから、きっと多くの学びがあるはずです。それでは、どうぞ。Okay, we're gonna start. Thank you again for Greg, and it's really good to see you.
And you.
Man, it's been a long time, but I'm so happy to see you like this, and we're gonna be sharing a lot of good stuff, and I think people will get a lot out of this one. But anyway, when did we meet first? When was the time when we actually saw each other?
Man, it had to
1980.
be.
We both were in college. I mean, University
Yeah.
of Minnesota, right? And you
Yes.
lived right across the street, and we used to pretend that we study.
Yes.
Always kind of worked out, right?
Well, I always said I got my bachelor's degree in international relations, but I got a master's degree in martial arts.
That's right. Come to think of it, that when you taught me how to wrestle and then kind of beat me up pretty good. But no wonder, I mean, you are in top level in wrestling in the national. You made a big on the top. But what made you go towards JKD Kali in the sound system? What was the main reason? Because you're doing really great in wrestling. You could go further there, but you switched.
Well, I think I started martial arts very young. So I started wrestling when I was 10 years old. I started martial arts pretty much the same time, but it was more or less where I'd find friends. One of them did karate, one of them had some boxing. I had wrestling, and we all just trained together, and we got all the books. I remember getting Gurden and Asanto's books, and we're going through it, and, trying to imitate. But we were just having a blast doing martial arts, and I was doing wrestling and gymnastics, and those are my primary sports focus. And then just growing up doing martial arts, and from the very beginning, always looking at Guru Dan's books and trying to imitate. And over time, just met more people and kept doing more martial arts. But I always considered the gymnastics that I was doing and the wrestling I was doing, that was just part of the martial arts for me.
Oh, wow. What appealed to you? The martial arts appealed to you? What's the attraction of your?
Well, I think for me, I just really initially was just always into anything that was combat sport related, right? So it was like boxing and kickboxing and wrestling and anybody that knew karate. And of course, we're watching all the Bruce Lee movies. And so we were always, trying to imitate and then going through the books. But I really just enjoyed challenging myself through the martial arts and through, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And do we really care? Or are we just having fun doing it? And, that was the whole thing. I just always enjoyed training the martial arts. It was almost like pulled into it. I never had to be pushed. I was always just pulled to it.
Yeah, as we talked about, you came to my room, forgot, but with a Diet Pepsi and potato chips, and we promised that we're going to study, but we
Yes.
never did. We
Never
just
did.
worked out, and that was really fun. We talked about JKD and Kali and a lot of stuff right there, didn't we? I don't know what's so, because I've done some other martial arts, but I've never been so, look at, I'm 64 and I'm still doing it. I'm so enthused. I never lost the passion of it. What do you think is the difference between the other martial arts sport and the Jeet Kune Do Kali?
Well, I think for me, it's the Filipino martial arts and the Jeet Kune Do and how we've always practiced are so diverse. You can't ever reach the end. There's so many things. There's, as soon as you think you get somewhere, there's someone showing you 50 more options and different training methods and tools and techniques. And so it's just an endless thing. And not only that, then with the Jeet Kune Do, philosophy of being able to mix everything together. So it becomes this big, giant, cohesive, never ending training session, that allows us to maximize physically, mentally, emotionally. Everything is just pulled into it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. But you have your own gym gym right now and very successful, but he had to go through some your cancer. You got a cancer twice, and I was really worried about you. But you were successful before that, and you are very successful after that. There are two successes that I see. What was your key thing about, being successful and doing well? What is it? Is there anything that you might want to share with the people who might want to run the gym? And, what is your key to success?
I think first and foremost is my passion and love for the martial arts. I mean, I would do the martial arts if I wasn't getting paid a cent, just because I love it. And so then learning the different ways to train. When I first opened my gym, I just wanted people that were really into the hardcore training and pushing ourselves and really, wanted to maybe go into the competitive aspect of things and really wanted to push themselves. But then over time, more and more people started coming in. And so, we kind of adapted toward different levels of people, but we still had very intense training. So to this day, we have kind of two different groups of people. We have our general students who just come in to learn martial arts, to get fit, to have fun, to meet people, get confident, just try something new. And then we have our very, high level competitors that are training very, very hard and trying to take it to the highest level. And they're all training under the same roof, and everybody coexists just fine. But I think the biggest thing that allowed me to start small and keep going and going was just my passion for the martial arts, and then my goal to be able to share it and give back what I've learned and try to see if I can teach it in a way that different people can take what I've learned over time and put it into their own lives. And then also building up a lot of different instructors that also have a great passion, but they show it a little bit different ways. So we have different instructors showing the same things, but some people gravitate towards one instructor, another person gravitates towards another instructor, but we're also showing the same thing under the same roof. So ultimately, it's just that goal of trying to share my passion and pass the passion on more than anything. And I think that's been a huge thing in my ability to run a school, even through the thick and the thin of being ill with cancer. And the guys that were there, they caught hold of that passion and kept the school open when I was fighting cancer, and they kept it running just as strong.
Oh, really? You had a really good group.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm totally, absolutely blessed with the people I've had since the beginning, that even though I wasn't there for almost a year fighting cancer, they kept all the classes running. They kept everything growing. They did what they had to do. And then the greatest thing is, since they were doing everything when I came back, I said, well, why don't you keep doing all that stuff? And I'll just focus on teaching, training, the martial arts and doing that. And everybody kind of fell into their position where they're comfortable. Some people more on the, doing the back end of things, the books, the business aspect. Some people are running more of the floor, making sure everything's running smoothly, testing, curriculum, getting, different events going. And so everybody has their place, and I get to train and teach and coach, and just continue to be pulled into the martial arts.
Yeah. The key word you said is a passion, and we are
Yes.
passionate. Our common ground is a passion towards the art, and Guru Inosanto and Rick Faye. But you have actually overcome cancer twice. How did your experience in martial art help you overcoming your predicament?
Well, first and foremost, just the hard training, pushing ourselves really hard so that you're becoming physically tough. But to become physically tough, you have to be mentally tough, and just that ability to endure the pain of training really hard, pushing yourself. When I was wrestling, and even when I was competing in Thai boxing and jiu-jitsu and other things, I was cutting weight. I knew what it felt like to be hungry and not have food and continue to go on. And so I always tell people that the intense training that we did in the martial arts was like training for my battle with cancer. And initially, I didn't know what was wrong with me, and neither did the doctors at first. And for me, it was actually a relief in a way to find out, okay, I have cancer. Now I have an opponent. Now I have an opponent to fight. I can put my mind, my body, and my spirit into alignment to battle this, to fight it. Because not knowing was far worse than finding out.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow, you're brave, I think. Wow. As a coach, you have trained many top athletes, by the way. What do you think of the most important factor in helping the people grow?
Well, I think first and foremost, like I said earlier, if they already have that passion and they really want to, grow as high as they can, for me, that's the work is done. Now I just have to plug in, here's what we're going to do today. Here's why we're doing it. And they start to buy into, the different martial arts. And, each fighter kind of gravitates towards different areas. And some of them are more, wrestling, jujitsu, striking based. Some of them just are more Muay Thai. But there's some of them that have, kind of embraced all of it. The Filipino martial arts, the hubad, the sombrada, the striking, grappling, and kind of really look at it, in a truly mixed martial arts mindset.
Right.
And I think getting them to really, just love what they're doing. Because if they're doing that, if they have that passion, then it's a very easy task. They have a goal and they want to reach that goal.
That's pretty impressive. As you've done a great job about that passion thing. It really hit me a lot. And this is something I never lost. And this is something that we shared together. Rick, of course, the guru Inosanto is 88 years old, and he's passionate more than ever every day. And,
Yes.
studying under him, it just makes me so humble. It's just we can't just say just this is enough, You're right.
No.
So
Yeah, Guru Dan is definitely the example. I look at that, I just turned 60, so I'm going, wow, I got at least 28 more years of this going, because I look at him and he still, teaches all the time. And he's like to me, he's like a little kid. He sees something and he's like, wow, did you see this? It's like he's never seen it before.
Right.
And it could be like a jab. It could be like, we'd be like, Guru, that's just two guys boxing. Yeah, but look at how they're moving. Isn't it unbelievable? And so he has an eye to be able to almost draw energy from watching people train. And he's always showing videos of his kids' class and watching them and saying, look at these kids, look what they're doing. And he's just so excited all the time. And so my goal is, that's what I want to be. I want to be excited. I want to be able to just keep doing it forever. I don't ever want to retire. I just want to do martial arts.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching Guru teaching kids, how fast they change. And he's trained like 4 to 5 hours almost every day. He teaches. And
Yes.
no trace of declining the energy. It's always improving the energy, and the voice is so strong and the energy is so strong. And he's so passionate. You're right. And he gives 120% to teach and teach us what he wants to tell us and share us. And that's cleansing my heart. There's no one like that, And I know all the martial art teachers like that, but to me, Guru Inosanto is so special, and his loving is just no comparison to me.
Yeah, exactly. I asked him a long time ago. I said, "What keeps you going? What keeps your energy?" And he looked at me and he said, "I believe I was ordained by God to do this."
Yeah, he told me that too. Yes. That's something that is why he could be so humble like this, and he just has no trace of I'm just such, he doesn't really care. He gives everything to God. And that attitude humbles me so much. And then I really love him, But boy, I can talk all day about this one. We're gonna get into a little bit of because look at all Japanese people. I'm sure a lot of other people who know you will watch this one, and some of them are running really well. Some of them are maybe not. So you can kind of talk to them about it, and also Japanese people. We need, because this Inosano system, GK Kari, can open up the mind and restructure the mind and in such a way that we can see the one thing with the different avenues, which we need, because Japanese is always like this, So we need that so bad. And especially you guys in your country has now facing a big change coming up, in respect. So are we. We are going to face a lot of changes over here. But a lot of people believe that nothing ever has changed yet. And everything stays the same. Nothing will change. But great change is going to come soon. And those people who are not really prepared for that, this one will get a major shock and get probably mentally highly stressed. That's what I see in Japan. Do you see any difference in Japanese when you were here, when you were in 20s?
Yeah.
You were here, right? And now you probably met a lot of Japanese in your career. Do you see any difference now and then?
I mean, I think then when I was in Japan, it was so new, so coming over there and doing the seminars with Sifu Rick and doing the tape, the video, it was just so fun, So to me, I had probably somewhat blinders on. I was just looking at, oh, we get to do martial arts in Japan. This is the greatest thing ever, right? So going over there and training. But I've had a variety of Japanese students over the years. And
Oh,
it really hit me because he trained while he was going to school at the University of Minnesota. And then he came in and he said, I have to go back to Japan now and I have to work. My training is over. And I go, what are you talking about? Your training is over. He
mm,
goes, yes, now I have to work. And I go, why can't you do both?
mm.
That's not Japan. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You can do both. I have friends that talk about you and I talk about other people. But he was like very sad that he had to go. And it was like a different part of his life was starting where it was going to be work, family, and that's the rest of his life.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I was you, I would find martial arts over there and keep training, find it. So it was very, he was so emotional when he left because
Mm.
he goes, now I, because he said that he got to come here and train and do, kick and meet all these people who are working and doing the martial arts and having a fun time. And he could come there and, kind of let loose a little bit.
Right.
And now he has to go to Japan and it was going to be almost like very strict.
We have been kind of educated not to be passionate and it's a kind of not a good thing to turn what you're passionate about into your work or your job. You're doing what you like to do the most, right? You're passionate about,
Mhm.
right? It's your job and you're doing great job. But in Japan, it really doesn't work that way. It just is, they say, well, that's your hobby. Hobby is different from job, making life out of. So separated. That was the very traditional teaching of Japan, which may not be true now, but a little bit different. But I
Mhm.
think a lot of people still have a memory of that and still get, that memories will drag them back. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
いかがでしたでしょうか。グレッグと語り、私自身も改めて武術に対する情熱を再確認しました。彼が武術を通して培ったすべてが人生の困難を乗り越える力になっていることがとても印象的でしたね。彼の言葉にあったように何事も情熱が大切です。そしてそれを持ち続けることが成長につながるのだと思います。皆さんもぜひ自分の情熱を大切にしてみてください。最後に皆さんの感想や気づきをコメント欄でぜひシェアしてください。皆さんのコメントを読むのを楽しみにしていますし、グレッグにも届けたいと思います。それでは次回もお楽しみに。